Hey everyone, happy Friday. It is another Mavens of Manufacturing Day, and I'm super excited because I have Taylor Smith with me, and I've known her for a long time through another contact of ours, and I'm really excited for her to come and share her story. She is the Technical Sales and Marketing Manager for PSNERGY. Hi Taylor, how are you doing?
Hey Megan, I'm good. How are you? I'm so excited to be on the show today.
I'm really good, and I am too. I'm really glad that we've stayed connected because we met years ago. I think when I first started out, and you used to work with Ashley, and I had her on from Onyx, and she just no longer with Onyx, but she's still an amazing human being, and she wrote this fantastic book, and that's how you and I got to know each other. So I'm really excited that you're here today. But can you start off with a little background information about yourself and tell us how you got involved with this wonderful sector of engineering and manufacturing?
Yeah, of course. I'd be happy to. So a little bit about me. I was a Division I athlete. I went to school in Brooklyn, New York. I had a scholarship for bowling, and I was a communications major. I never thought that I would end up in the manufacturing sector, but I'm super happy that I did. My story's pretty cool. So I was in Brooklyn going to school, and I went home for the summer of my junior year, and I didn't have an internship or anything. My dad had told me that he got me a job helping at the company that he works at, which is a Wood City Forge, and I was just going to be summer help. I didn't know what that meant until I got there on the first day, and they had me painting yellow lines on the plant floor.
The safety area?
Yeah. So that's not really what I thought that I was going to be doing over the summer. But I do have to say that learning about their process and, seeing the furnace doors open and this red hot ingot comes out, and then watching them, take it over to the forge press and make things out of it was the coolest experience ever. I'd never seen anything like it. And from there, that's where I met Drew and Ashley, and they were kind enough to give me an opportunity while I was still in Brooklyn to work on their social media for Onyx. And then now today I'm at PSNERGY. We manufacture combustion solutions, and we serve heat treat, steel, aluminum, and zinc industries.
That's awesome. So when you were going to school in Brooklyn, New York, what was the major that you were pursuing? Was it communications?
Yeah, communication, arts, public relations, and advertising based.
Gotcha. Do you still bowl?
I do. I do still bowl.
I would like to go bowling with you. I suck at it though, to be fair. So you'd probably kick my ass, and that's totally fine. I'm double jointed in both my arms. So my arm twists all weird. So most of the time I'm hitting gutter balls. It's still fun. I still enjoy going, but for whatever reason, I cannot get my arm to stay straight. It always twists weird because I'm double jointed. So I'd love to go bowling with you and just see how badly I would lose, because I would definitely lose.
Yeah, I think we have to meet on the lanes when we meet in person.
Yes, that would be awesome. So for technical sales and marketing, because I've been in marketing before, and sales and marketing is different. Well, they've been seen as different, where a lot of the companies that I worked at, they were struggling to bridge the two together, which would be very helpful in terms of how you're marketing your business and sharing your manufacturing and engineering story. So how did you get involved? Because you're the technical sales and marketing manager, which could be seen as two different things because they have been siloed forever. How did you get involved with that position at PSNERGY? And can you kind of talk about some of the things that, they were struggling with, and you came in and you helped bridge that gap between the two? Can you talk about that for us?
Yeah, of course. So PSNERGY is a relatively new company, so may call it only about 10 years old. And when I came to interview, yes, when I came to interview, I interviewed for just a marketing position. And in my interview, I was blatantly honest that, you know, I've seen silos of sales and marketing, and that just doesn't work. And I had made it known from the beginning that I want to be involved in both. So something really cool, and I think that I'm really lucky to have this opportunity, is I get to walk our customers through their entire buyer journey, which is something that a lot of people don't get to do. So I take them from a prospect up through, I educate them, you know, teach them about the opportunities that our services and our systems can provide, and kind of just go through that entire journey with them through the purchasing process. And then I go back on site afterwards, you know, as for monthly or quarterly check-ins. And it's really awesome to be able to take a customer from the very early prospecting stage when they've never heard your name, the whole way through the sales cycle and into the buyer's journey. That's just so cool. And, you know, I think that the most important part is just building that relationship with those customers.
So for businesses who are struggling to bridge that gap, do you have like a list for them or top tips for them to help them start bridging the gap? Because I know that there can be some resistance. I've worked with companies where they're just like, we're not doing this. And you have to kind of really encourage them to get along with each other and, you know, help each other out, because they are the subject matter experts. And in order for marketers such as yourself and myself to like do our job appropriately, like we need that information for them so that we can turn it into something that's attractive and get those prospects coming in. So what are your like top tips to help bridge those two departments together?
Yeah, so I would say that I have 2 tips. And the first one is pretty general, and it's just communication. You know, really having everyone working together as a team is so important. And I think a lot of times that the silos happen because there is a lack of communication. So just having everyone in a room once a month, once a quarter, and learning what sales has going on and learning what marketing has going on can be so beneficial to the other segment. Just, you know, understanding, hey, we're all here to support the same goal. And this is how I'm working towards it, and this is how you're working towards it. And, you know, kind of just taking that time to work together and collaborate, I think is so important. And then I think my second tip would be to just make the content. So even if it's bad, that's my favorite tip to give people. You know, even if it's bad, if it's your first live video that you're doing, if it's your first podcast, just make it and launch it. Oh, go ahead.
I agree with that to a point. I think there are some things that you should reach out to experts for. So like, I remember when I first started Mavens, my first video was not up to par by any means, but I always tell people, you know, shoot for 1% better. So if you're 1% better tomorrow than you were today or yesterday, then you're on that pathway towards progression and improvement. But you just got to start somewhere. You have to take that leap, because if you don't start sharing these stories, then one, we're going to continue seeing the worker shortage increase, and 2, you're not going to see any new business coming in if you think that just word of mouth. Yes, word of mouth is important, but because we are so digital nowadays and things continue to advance, you really have to put yourself out there, because there is so much content out there, and you really need to like make sure you're always in people's searches when they're searching for specific things that you're producing.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that. So, you know, there wasn't really a marketing department before me at PSNERGY. So we kind of started from the ground up. They had hired a few third-party resources to make brochures and things like that, and to help with the website. But really, when I started here, it was kind of just my territory to do what I want with it. And that was amazing. So when I say just make the content, I think back to this example of, we had said for months, you know, we have to start making video content for our customers. There's no way that we're gonna, you know, increase sales or gain the traction that we're looking for if we're not making video content. And for months. We had storyboarded and, tried to make the perfect animations and things like that. And finally, I just scheduled a live event through LinkedIn, through StreamYard. I said, we're just going to get on for 15 minutes at lunch and talk about why combustion matters. And
That's
from that,
cool.
right? And from that live video series, we have had the most inbound traction that we've ever had from just a 15-minute live video, sitting in this room talking about why combustion's important.
That's really cool. And see, and what I like about StreamYard is not too expensive because that's what we're using right now. It's not too expensive. And two, if you have multiple channels, you can live stream it simultaneously to all of those channels. It has on the back end, which everyone on the end of us see on the back end, it has like the branding stuff, you can add music now. If you do pre-recordings, you can record it on both ends now. You can, pull in graphics and all this other stuff. You can watch all of the comments sections from each of your channel too in the one comment. So it has everything available to you at your fingertips, and it's really easy. And trust me, everyone that's tuning in, for me to like say how easy it is, that's like really important because I suck at video. Like, I will be the first to admit how horrible I am. I'm trying to get used to carrying a camera around with a tripod and doing recordings at trade shows, and I get so anxious about it. And I always like joke about myself with my friend Ian Stork and Jacob Sanchez, because when you see them at trade shows, they're like pros. Even Tony Gunn, like, they're pros. They'll just set it up real quick and push a bunch of buttons and then they go. Me, I'm just like, what if this falls? What if I don't connect something correctly? So I have to like have more conversations with them before I get really comfortable doing on-site stuff. But this stuff is really simple. You just hit record and you're going. You're live and you're going.
And like you said, it's cheap. It's simple. It's cheap and simple. Yeah. And, the big thing for me in marketing is educating the customer. If you can come on a live like this and talk for 15 minutes about, why your services or your product is important, you're winning.
Yeah, absolutely. It's better than not producing anything at all. Because again, if you don't put yourself out there, then everything that you do have on your website that might get picked up with the Google search is just going to keep falling down on those. It's not going to be on the first page of the search.
Right.
Just going to keep going down. So 100% agree. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about, I'm really excited because Mavens has connected with a lot of women in manufacturing members, and I just love that organization. I'm so excited because I finally get to go to their national summit this year. I'm a little disappointed though because I found out they're doing an international summit in Barcelona, Spain, and that would have been awesome to go to, but it's the organization just keeps growing and growing and growing, and I really like seeing that because they do offer a lot of programs. But you specifically are the director for the Western Pennsylvania chapter, and I just wanted to know like why it was important for you to not only join WIM as a member, but also be a part of their leadership team for the chapter that you're in, and what are some of the things that you're working on?
Yeah, so it was actually really cool. I had been asked by Susan Heilman, so she is, very well known in the Erie manufacturing community, and she was serving as the board director at the time, and she had come to me and said, I love your enthusiasm, I love your marketing content, I would love if you would want to, partner with us. And I went to the first meeting and I was hooked. And I knew from then on that I wanted to be a really big part of WIM. And that's just because, we share so many similar passions, like encouraging the next generation to find inspiration in this industry and educating on why manufacturing is so important. But then it also, builds connections with people that share similar interests, like you and me, who want to better the next generation and give them all of the things that they need to take on a career in this industry.
Mm-hmm. So what are some of the things that you are working on as a chapter? Because for people who are not familiar with WIM, First off, climb out from underneath the rock you've been under, because it's such a large organization that if you're in engineering and manufacturing, not heard of it, I'm going to ask why you haven't heard of it. But each chapter is responsible for their own local events. So I'm part of WIM as a whole, but there's the Wisconsin chapter and the Illinois chapter that I'm part of. And I think Wisconsin has two, actually. There's like northern Wisconsin, and then there's one that's closer to where I'm at. So I have the benefit of attending multiple events for two chapters, which is nice. But a lot of the events that they do are like book readings, like book clubs. And then there's some tours that they do. I know Illinois had a recent golf outing one that was, I didn't get to go to, but I mean, it's just a great opportunity for women in different areas to come together and share their experiences and just network with one another. So what are some of the events that the Western Pennsylvania chapter is working on, and how can people get involved with those?
Yeah, so I'm really excited. We have a whole bunch of stuff coming up, particularly on the national level. You know, we're always doing virtual events, coffee chats, things like that, where you can tune in from anywhere in the country. And that's simple. It's a 30-minute to 45-minute just round table where, you know, we'll go around giving maybe tips on, you know, work-life balance, or we have some that are kind of formed to different career paths. So we'll talk about human resources and recruiting and things like that. So it's really cool. Right now, we've really been trying to get some in-person events going on because, you know, COVID is kind of on the back burner now, thankfully. So one thing that we're really excited for is Manufacturing Day at the Bayfront Convention Center here in Erie. So they have about 2,000 students come in and walk the floor, and it's just like a huge trade show for them. So PSNERGY is going to have a booth there. We're super excited. Most of our WIM board members have a booth there, and you really get to go and showcase, you know, what you do, why your company is so cool, and why these kids should pursue a career in manufacturing. And they had asked us this year if our WIM panel or our WIM board would want to do a panel discussion for the younger kids. So we're really looking forward to that. So there's going to be three of us. It's myself, Jenna Mucci, who is the project manager at JV Manufacturing, and then Hope Cicero, who's a mechanical engineer at Channel Lock.
That's awesome. So are there other things that PSNERGY as a company does to really connect the next generations to what opportunities are available? Because one of the main issues that we're hearing a lot about now in this sector is the workforce shortage. And there's a lot of different opinions on who we should target and who we should speak to and how we should, you know, bring awareness to the opportunities here. So what are some of your thought processes, and how are you helping PSNERGY not just connect with your current workforce that you have, but with your community and future generations? You mentioned that you're doing this panel discussion and you're doing stuff for Manufacturing Day, but do you do other things as well to really educate the community about who PSNERGY is and some of the things that you're doing?
Yeah, so like I said, we're a relatively new company, or baby, as I might say.
Yeah.
So, you know, ever since I got here, I've really just been pushing this community aspect, and we have to be present in the community. So from things like career fairs to speaking in classrooms, the company is supportive of everything in the realm of educating the next generation, which is amazing. You know, we go to the local career fairs and things like that. But something that I'm really excited for is I'm partnering right now with the NWIRC, which is the Northwest Industrial Resource Center. They kind of span like the 13 counties up the side of Western Pennsylvania. And so we're planning on doing a manufacturing dream team. So it's kind of highlighting all of the different jobs and figuring out ways that we can get the next generation excited. So, you know, I was just talking to my friend Tara Lawrence today. She's running this project, and she actually just left here. And I told her on December 1st, PSNERGY is moving into a new space. So right now we have our office space kind of separated from our test rig, which is where we do all of our dev projects and testing on our equipment and things like that, which is also separated from our production facility. So on December 1st, we are moving everything into one building. So we're all going to be in one big facility together. And I am so excited to start inviting classes in for plant tours, because that is right up my alley. I love plant tours.
Yeah, I think that's where they're going to get their aha moment, right? Especially with things that they don't know is going on. I was talking to a woman earlier today, and she's like, I think we think things just show up on shelves, and we don't understand like how they got to the shelf, like how much work it took to design it, and even like the packaging. She's like, before I entered engineering and manufacturing, I would go in a store and I just thought they magically appeared on the shelf and didn't realize like how much of a process it was to make and design and build something and create it and distribute it. And I'm doing something similar within my community now. I'm trying to connect the high school to a bunch of different manufacturers that are within a 50 to 150 mile radius with them. And they're going to try to do more like field trips to manufacturing facilities for the ones that can have kids come in, because there are some companies that are just like, no, we deal with too much like secretive things that we can't have them come in, which is kind of disappointing, because those are like the cool projects too, the secretive ones. Like I was like hearing about some of the stuff they're doing, but I think that's the easiest way any company can really get themselves out there, is just opening up their doors and inviting kids in to see how they're making things, and just talking to the workers, and, you know, maybe have like a couple hands-on things too. I did talk to a student. She's like, yeah, we had a robotics class in my high school. She's like, but I wasn't interested in it. And she's like, they were the small ones. She's like, I didn't get interested in robotics until I actually went to a facility tour and I saw how massive they get. She's like, I couldn't believe how big this robot was. She's like, so then I was like, well, now I want to work with them, because she's like, it was just the pure size of it kind of scared me a little bit, but then it was like really exciting, because it's like, oh, I can program something like that and maintenance it and fix it. So I really want to, when you move in your facility, I really want to try to get a trip out there and do a facility tour too, and maybe we can do like a Moments with Mavens thing or something. But so what else? What else are you looking for to the remainder of this year? Because we're almost done. Like, we're in September already. Are you going to any trade shows or summits or anything that we can connect with you at?
Yes. So I will not be at the WIM Summit this year, sadly. I do always go to AIS Tech. I do presentations and things there, but I don't really think that I don't think Mavens goes to AIST. But you should. I haven't
been there. I have not been there. But you should.
It's very cool. Like I said, you know, new company. So this is kind of our first year that we've ever exhibited or anything like that. So it was our first year exhibiting at AIST, and we plan on, you know, going from there. So I'm going to be at Aluminum USA here in a couple weeks. And probably there's a heat treating show coming up in October as well.
Okay, see, I didn't know about any of this stuff. So I know about like, I'll be at FabTech coming up next week. So FabTech next week. And then there's like EMU, which is in Europe, and Hanover. Like I know about those shows. IMTS is coming up next year. Pack Expo's in Vegas the same week as FabTech. So I've been to like some of those bigger shows, but I haven't heard of AIS Tech or the aluminum show.
I definitely want to get more involved with FabTech. I think FabTech would be really good for us.
Yeah,
so
it's huge.
You guys will be seeing more of us.
Good. I'm glad. It's a big show, and it's in I think they alternate it though between cities. I want to say Atlanta is the other city. I might be wrong though. Don't quote me on that. So if I got that messed up, FabTech, I'm sorry. But it's in Chicago this year, so I'm super excited because it's close. Ooh. It's in my backyard, basically. Yeah, it's in Chicago, and I love the city Chicago. I know it has bad reps sometimes, just like any city, but it's a great city to go to. And IMTS is there as well. They're coming up in 2024. So if you want to go to another big show, try to book that show because they're amazing. But I'm going to look those shows up. And then,
Definitely.
well, what else do you have going on? Like, I know that we've chatted a lot about some of the things that you're currently doing, but I want to be able to get you to ask our audience something. So, before we get to that question, anyone that's looking to come into engineering and manufacturing, especially women, like, do you have any specific advice that you would give them on how to like kind of start out in this career and, manage it being so it's not as male dominated as it was back in 2008 when I first started. We're increased a little, but right now we're sitting at 30%. So what advice would you have to any newcomers who come into engineering and manufacturing?
Yeah, so especially for the women, I mean, like you said, join WIM. It really gives you a community of people, mentors, things like that. I can go to my WIM board members for anything. When I was looking for a new role, I went to them and they looked at my resume. They helped me. They helped me practice interviewing skills, things like that. And they don't have to do that. They're doing that because they've been through this industry and, they've grown up here. And so I think that my one piece of advice would be even men can join WIM. So join WIM and, make yourself known to your local WIM community and just really start building those connections and relationships, because I think that that's the most important thing in manufacturing is just having those relationships and people to look up to.
That's really good advice. One thing that I do like about WIM is they offer corporate memberships. And then I just learned this with the conversation I recently had with Sharonda Carr, who's the vice president of membership for SME. SME and WIM have actually partnered together so that any student who wants a membership to one or the other organization will automatically get a membership to the other one.
Yeah.
So you get 2 memberships of 2 great organizations within this sector for like a really fair price if you're a student. So definitely take advantage of that. And the other great thing about WIM is they're turning international and they're starting to have chapters in other countries. So if you're in a different country, make sure to look up WIM and see if they're in your country. If you want to set up a chapter in your country, they'll help you go through that as well too. And it's just because I said this before in a recent conversation, like I don't think people understand that the low percentages of women in engineering and manufacturing isn't just here in the United States, like it's all over the world. And I've talked to women from different countries who are like, yeah, we had an opportunity to learn in these fields, but we had to actually move to a different location to actually progress forward because in our country, it's harder for us to progress forward. So it's great to see everybody coming together and working together. Well, this has been great, Taylor. I'm so excited that you came and shared your story with us. But if you had one ask for our audience, what ask would you have for them?
I think my biggest ask would be, well, I guess it's more of a question than an ask. But
that's totally
if you're not working to educate and empower this next generation, why? And, how can we as a community kind of help you do that?
I think that's a great question. So anybody tuning into this episode, make sure you answer that question, because I would like to know the same that Taylor is asking, like, why aren't you being proactive and getting yourself out there? So if anybody has any more questions for you, Taylor, personally, or if they want to learn more about PSNERGY, how can they get in touch with you and where should they go?
You can definitely go to our website to learn more about what we do, but you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I think my email is on there as well. So feel free to just reach out to me directly.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much again, Taylor, for joining me today on Mavens of Manufacturing. I really appreciate your time. And to anyone else who stay tuned, because I have like a 30-second video for you. Take care, everyone. Thanks for joining and have a great weekend. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Growing your manufacturing business can be a challenge.
Using multiple disconnected and underperforming systems to do so only adds insult to injury. ProShop ERP understands this frustration. They've been in your shoes and have spent the last 20 years developing and refining a solution that places shop owners in control of their business operations and growth. ProShop ERP equips manufacturers with the basis to achieve sustainable growth by pulling the critical details of how your business runs into one central location. When you have clear and easy access to the information you need the most, you achieve sustainable growth. Are you ready to take the next step and centralize your data? Head to ProShopERP.com/call. That's ProShopERP.com